Welcome back to the channel, where I give you my recommendations up front for new streaming content, and then you stay tuned to see if I can validate my recommendations. Today, I'm going to go to actually review Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Now, this is a sci-fi, should be no holds barred or knowing about Star Trek, right? So, Star Trek fans, sci-fi fans, if you are fans of Holly Hunter, these are people that are going to go ahead and actually be the target audience for this type of show. Now, if you are the target audience for this, I am going to go and actually recommend that you watch the first two episodes of this series. If you are just a casual, though, that you're not in that demographic, but you're just trying to wonder if it's even worth your time, I'm going to go and actually recommend a one episode watch. There you got my recommendations. Now, stay tuned to see if I can validate for you why I gave you those recommendations.
So go out and seek, explore, boldly go where no one has gone before.
Star Trek Starfleet Academy premiered on Paramount Plus in January of 2026, and it stars Holly Hunter as Captain Nyla Aki, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Can't really remember, but we'll go with that. And Sandro Rosta as Caleb Meir. So those are your main two stars, but obviously it's got the usual bevy of cast and characters that go and actually round out the staff. So some of the highlights of like co-stars on there or that are reoccurring characters are, oddly enough, Stephen Colbert is the digital voice that you actually go and actually hear, and he's a digital dean of students on there. So it's kind of like a little surprise, little cameo in there. Robert Picardo returns as the Doctor. So if you are a fan of the Voyager series, and he's appeared in other subsequent series in the Star Trek lore, he's in this as well. And Paul Giamatti as Noose Braca is in here as well. So those are some stars on there. What is this about? You got young cadets trained to become Starfleet officers as they deal with friendships, rivalries, and romance, all while facing a mysterious threat to both the Academy and the Federation. I'm going to go ahead and actually shout out IMDb for giving me that synopsis. I'm going ahead and actually getting a synopsis like that. You kind of wonder, all right, so what is this content really like? What is it similar to? It's going to be very much in the realm of like very much Star Trek heavy types of things. So I would go ahead and actually say the things that are most like it or reminds me of or they're trying to borrow from. Star Trek Discovery is obviously a close relation as that series just ended. Lower Decks, when you're going ahead and actually taking it to like young cadets, ensigns, all that kind of good stuff on there. So having that. And there is the aspect of Deep Space Nine. Now, some of you Star Trek fans will probably be like, whoa, how dare you? But keep in mind, Deep Space Nine was the only Star Trek that took place on a non-ship. Everything else was like starship based or what have you. So this is actually taking place in San Francisco while they're going largely on Earth as they're training the cadets and things like that. So it is different from the other ones where we actually go out in space and things like that. So that's how it's much like Deep Space Nine. When you look at being a Star Trek fan, when you look at being a sci-fi fan like myself, I am really the target audience for this. Holly Hunter is kind of like, she's kind of like okay for me on there. I like her in some things, other things I don't like her in. So she's not particularly enticing for me, but everything about this kind of screams like, hey, you got to watch this as being a Star Trek fan and knowing about this, what have you. So I'm the target audience for this. And you should always know that up front when you're looking at people's recommendations for you for like different TV shows and movies and things like that. I tell you my bias up front, and then you can kind of wrap your brain around on just how much I'm giving to you. So if you like how that sounds, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. And now I'm just going to break it down for you.
Man, why does everything have to be a full-on lesson in this place?
Because it's a school, Caleb.
Three things I go ahead and actually look at when I'm looking at series on here. First is the storytelling. Storytelling, I'm going to go ahead and actually give like a C plus on this particular show. I like the fact that it's actually taking place in like the future, so it doesn't have to go ahead and actually harken back to like other previous iterations of Star Trek, so it can kind of be its own thing, which is a really good idea for theirs. I don't like the centering on the main character Caleb in this one so far in those first two episodes. He's not a good character to me on there, so the storytelling and everything being around him isn't the greatest aspects of things. The pacing on there is okay, so like, I get like a C plus for the storytelling for me. Second thing is acting. I do like the supporting characters. I'm just not liking the main characters. Very much like with Caleb, and then honestly with Holly Hunter's character, they're not vibing with me. But I do like a lot of the supplemental, subsequent staff and things of that nature. As most Starfleet or Star Trek iterations are, it's usually driven by the supporting characters, but then sometimes it is driven by liking the captain and things like that. For me, the acting in this one right now is around like a B minus for me because the other supporting characters kind of hold up the other aspects of the things that I don't like in the acting category. The bingeability for this, yes, my own word, go for it. Bingeability is that, how much do you really feel like watching and going to the next episode? Because that's very important in this day and age of streaming, of if it's actually bingeable or not. I want new adventures. I will just say that the first two episodes did not get me super excited about wanting to go to the next things on there, but there's enough tidbits of characters and a couple of storylines in there that I do want to watch it. It's just that there's nothing in those first two episodes that made me want to go and watch it. So it's really one of those types of things on there where like I can kind of give and take it, a bingeability on this. So bingeability is like a C plus for me in this matter. Like if you're a Star Trek fan, you're gonna want to go and actually get into it and all that kind of stuff. Love the fact that it is at a set station, being in an academy, what have you. Like I said, Deep Space is not the only one that ever does has only done that. Everything else is always on a ship and things like that. Going to the adventure makes it a lot easier to get into conflicts or make it like a monster of the week or adventure of the week type of thing or what have you. Where here, making it a stationary setting has you driving the characters a little bit more. It's a little bit more of a grounded things on there. So I like that aspect of it. I will say that the production value of Paramount Plus has put some money into this as far as the sets, the special effects, things like that. You can see the development of the technology of the time on there. Makes it really good. I will say the real thing that kind of makes this a hit or miss, I think, for most people, is going to be Holly Hunter as the main focal point, the senior captain that you're looking at. It's almost like as if you know a non-officer was involved. Like she's very intuitive with people. She's the usual captain that she thinks outside the box rather than like within the Federation or what have you and things of that nature. So in that aspect of it, she's still her own person, but she's an acquired taste. Like most of the captains that, and of course she's an instructor, right? It's almost like a headmaster type of thing. So she's not truly a captain per se, but she's the main focus point on what we're looking at, her developing the students and her being that it lends itself to kind of being like sometimes it's fun to watch her. There's other times you're like, really, like you're supposed to be this professional person and things like that. And like I said, she's very much an acquired taste in there, and she's going to really kind of either do it for you or not do it for you in this particular series. That's kind of how I feel about it. So when you put all that stuff together, me just kind of condensing of what everything this is about right now, just know that I'm going to go ahead and actually say again, target audience members, people that are about Star Trek, or you're a fan of Holly Hunter, or you're a sci-fi fan, or even like coming of age stories, going to go down and actually watch the first two episodes. For casuals, and if you're wondering, is this even worth the time to even do it, or should I go watch something else? I am going to say give it a one episode watch. See, it might be some things in there that you might like and might vibe with. But that's what I have for Star Trek Starfleet Academy, now showing on Paramount Plus. Check it out. Whole review. You did it. You stayed. I appreciate you. Do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Gonna try and get back into this again. Putting up, trying to get into the new year for 2026 and get it started for you guys. But until next time, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.
Now that's a happy ending. Or is it? Because everything's over now. And all that's left is you and the infinite void.